of all the marathons Eliud Kipchoge has raced, over 90% of them he has won. There was one marathon race, however, which had a rather peculiar ending. This race was going to be a phenomenal race, and as soon as the gun went off, Wilson Kipsang, one of the former world record holders, went out extremely fast over the first 400 meters. However, after the first few kilometers and going through the 3k mark in around 8.5 minutes, Eliud Kipchoge can now be seen completely dominating. This is where he was delegated 3 pacers. Now, these 3 pacers you need to keep an eye on, because these are not professional pacers, they are actually full-time professional runners. Usually, Eliud Kipchoge is given pacers who are only professional pacers. These are athletes that train solely to pace athletes and not for their own careers. In this race, he was predicted and wanted to run such a fast pace that they had absolutely no pacers able to even run that pace. They had to phone up professional athletes and ask them, rather than competing, to actually get paid to pace Eliud Kipchoge. So, as they went through the 10k mark in just over 29 minutes, things were looking right smack bang on world record pace. This is where the pacers began to really struggle, and already they were set to go well into the 30k mark, but 2 had already dropped away, and Eliud Kipchoge was now waiting to make his moment to try and increase the pace. Just by looking at the face difference, the facial expressions are massive. Eliud Kipchoge is calm, composed, and has his mouth shut, and the pacer was absolutely gasping for air, struggling with pain every single step. Now they're approaching the halfway mark, but this pacer was due to go on for another half an hour before he was supposed to drop out. These pacers are paid money to go to a specific distance at a specific pace to help the athlete achieve the goal time that they have written down. However, what was about to happen was going to shock the officials and the organisers of this race, because not only was Eliud Kipchoge now well ahead of world record pace, he had just gone through the halfway mark in 1:01. He was now trying to push the pace on, and the pacer could not handle it. The pacer had gone from looking confident, dominant and in control to now being side by side with Eliud as if he was a competitor, not actually pacing him at all. The pacer was now hanging on and just trying to get extra 100 meter or so. For example, he was now focusing on every street light, trying to make it to the next one, completely maxing out, while Eliud on the other hand was looking calm, composed and completely within control. Many people were wondering how much longer could this pacer actually last, considering Eliud still had over half of the race almost to run all by himself. This was something around 20 kilometers he had to now go all by himself, and the pacer had now dropped out ages ago. As we now come to 10 minutes before the end of the race, Eliud Kipchoge just dropped a 2 minute 36 second kilometer for one of his last kilometers, and this was something that didn't even slow him down. He continued to increase the pace, and as he came through for the last 200 meters, he had just run pretty much the second half of a marathon all by himself, with absolutely no competitors, no pacers, and here he came through in a world record time, which is the official world record to this current day, of 2:01:40. This was unbelievable, and he destroyed those pacers completely. This has never been seen in the history of a marathon, and Eliud Kipchoge made those pacers look slow. And like I said at the beginning of this video, they weren't even pacers, they were professional athletes, all pursuing their own career in the sport. This was something that shocked Eliud Kipchoge and probably definitely stressed him out a lot. Because in a tactical and Olympic style race, all that matters is winning the gold medal. However, when it came to this race day, Eliud Kipchoge was up against the clock. He needed someone to break the wind and to pace him. He needed someone to slot right behind and to dial in pace and to maintain a relaxation. He didn't have that for almost half of the entire race, so considering if he had had somebody, could he have gone even faster? Let's say if he had a pacer who could actually hold that pace for longer, he would probably have to have somebody who has won a world championship marathon just to pace him to 30k of this race. And let's face it, most people who are running 203 or 202 marathons do not want to be pacers, even if it means being paid tens of thousands per race. This is something that is seen as a relegation for athletes. They do not want to be pacers because although they get paid a healthy amount of money, they are no longer professional athletes who can be seen as certain celebrities from their country. No one really cares about a pacer, they want to see who wins the race. However, many people neglect the fact that these pacers are also fantastic athletes within their own right and have to be super strong and fit just to keep up with athletes like Eliud Kipchoge and to try and pace them to even the halfway mark. Now, in times like this, where world records are being smashed almost daily, pacers are pretty much impossible to come by. And recently, in the past few Diamond Leagues, we have seen the pacers struggle just to try and even get to the front of the race for the first 200 meters. We have seen absolutely blisteringly fast first 200 meters by athletes pacing the 1500s, the 3000s and even the steeplechasers, because the athletes are just going out at such a competitive pace that is way faster than the world record. This means that not only are the races being completely disrupted by tactical running, but it makes the pacers' life and job a nightmare. If these pacers mess up too many times, say they mess up 3 times, this means they end up getting fired and they will lose their job because they are not pacing properly or doing what they were paid to do. The problem is, the race circumstance must be taken into consideration. For example, if the athletes behind them want them to go even faster, but they simply can't, but they've been paid to go halfway, well, that's impossible because they simply won't make it halfway if they have to run even faster. This happens many times in marathons, but it has never happened to this degree as the Berlin Marathon 2018, where Eliud Kipchoge ran the official ratified marathon world record. Obviously, it was the fastest time in a human history of an official course, so it's understandable that these pacers really struggled to even make it to the half marathon mark. The question is, will we even have pacers that will be human in the next 10 years? Otherwise, we will be having to look at athletes possibly doing switch over pacing like we saw at the Breaking 2 and the Ineos 159. Another possibility is actually pacing robots. I know this sounds crazy, but like in the indoor velodrome cycling competitions, where they sometimes have robot cyclists and different chasing rabbit systems or laser light system to keep up. Thank you for watching today's video. Don't forget to share your comments and opinions in the comment section down below. Please like this video to support the channel, and why not subscribe if you're new here for daily running content, all the latest race athlete coverage and everything else running. I hope your day is going well, and I'll see you in the next one.